Okay, good morning and welcome to Yeshiva YouTube. Ian with Ben Sion. Today's daf is Nazir Daf Chaf, number 20. The Mishnah on Chaf Ben Aleph talks about an interesting case. There's two cases in the Mishnah. The first case, Mishayu Shtei Kite Eidim Meidos Oso Elo Meidim Shenazar Shtayim Ve'elo Meidim Shenazar Chamish. Two groups of Eidim. We have four people, right? Two groups of Eidim, two people in each kat, in each group. So one group says he took two terms in the zero upon himself, right? And this person, obviously, the person doesn't remember. I don't know. He doesn't remember what happened. So the Eidim are telling him how many zeros he took upon himself. So one group said, we both heard him say two terms. Another group says, we heard him say five terms. So in that case, Beis Shammai says, right, the Eidos has hachasha. It's a contradiction. The two Kita and we throw both of them out. He's not another at all. Beis Hillel omrim yesh b'chal chamish shtayim she'ein nazir shtayim. Beis Hillel says no. Yesh b'chal masayim mana. Right? Even the one that says two terms in the zeros, and the one that says five terms in the zeros, even though they don't agree completely, but they both agree to at least two terms in the zeros. So therefore, he's a nazir for at least two terms in the zeros. Probably we're talking about two stam in the zeros, 2 30-day periods in the zeros. He has to be a nazir for 60 days. At the end of 30 days, he brings karbanos and then starts a new zeros. So the Gemara says, "Mastisa dloki aitana desan Yeshua beno shirochan and broka omer lo nechleku beisham yisrael shteki deidem achas omeres shtayim achas omeres chamesh yesh b'chal chamesh shtayim al men nechleku al kas achas echel omer shtayim echel omer chamesh beisham yomer nechla yidusan yisrael omer yesh b'chal chamesh shtayim." He has a different version this time. Or Shmuel beno shirochan and broka. He says Beis Hillel would even say their case when you have one group of Eidim and right two Eidim. One aid says he accepted two terms in the zeros, and one aid says, no, I heard five terms in the zeros. So even in that case, Beis Hillel would say he has to observe two terms in the zeros because they're not completely contradicting each other because they both agree to at least two terms of Eidos. Now, the Tanna Kama doesn't hold like this. We paskin like the Mishnah, like the Tanna Kama. That in that case, the only case Beis Hillel says, Yesh b'chal chamish shtayim, in a case where two Eidim and one kat of Eidos, we would say nechlecha yedusan. So what exactly is the opinion of the Tanna Kama? Now, what happened in this case? Here the Nazir, the normal way of understanding, the simple way of understanding the case, is the Nazir said, I am a kabal two terms in the zeros. Right. And the other person said, the other kat of Eidim said he was a kabal five terms in it. He said, that was his words, I'm a kabal five terms in the zeros. Or maybe they heard him say, Hareini Nazir, two times, and then they heard him say, Hareini Nazir five times. So, right, those are the two main ways probably of understanding what happened over here. So Beis Hillel says, if there's two groups of Eidim, right, so, right, even though one said five, the other said five terms in the zeros, and one kat says he says two terms in the zeros, so it's not completely contradictory because each group of Eidim, right? You have one group of Eidim, right? Which what are we? Why are we making a nazir for two terms in the zeros? Because we're going to throw out the one that says five terms in the zeros, right? We're just going to keep the one that says two terms in the zeros. All we're doing is we're throwing out the second kat, the second group, and saying they said five terms in the zeros. He said already nazir five times, right? So you're probably not right because the other one disagrees with you. It said only two terms. But the first kat, which said two terms, is not completely in disagreement with the one that says five terms. So since you have a whole kat, they both say two terms in the zeros, so therefore we throw out one kat and the other kat remains. However, if you have only one group of Eidim and each of the Eidim says contradictory thing, one says he was makabel two terms in the zeros, and one aid says five terms in the zeros. So like the lashon of the Mishnah, nechlecha yidusan, their Eidos, right? It might not be contradictory, but you don't have a complete kat of Eidim. In order to have Eidos or anything to mechayev in the zeros, right? And the zeros is not Eid echad is not good enough to mechayev in the zeros. You need shtei Eidim over here because shtei Eidim is bringing karbonos, right? Part of a zeros is to bring karbonos. And karbonos is dinei mamanis, really, because it costs a lot of money to bring karbonos. So here we're talking about dinei mamanis over here. So since we're talking about dinei mamanis over here, you need a kat of Eidim, you need shtei Eidim. So the reason it worked in the Mishnah, and that's how we hold it works in the Mishnah, is because I have one cut of Edom that is not rebuffed because it has Yesh B'chal Ma'asai Mana. 2 works according to both of them. The one who says 5 terms in his ears, he's thrown out. But the one who says 2 is not muchash, he's not contradicted. However, the problem is that if you have only 2 Edom, so yes, the Eid that says 2 terms in his ears is not huchash from the one that says 5, but we throw out the one who says 5 because he is a huchash from the 1 2. So we're only left with 1 Eid, and 1 Eid is not good enough to mechayev and Naziros. You need 2 Eidim in mechayev and Naziros because dinim aminus over here. I think that's the chiddush over here. And what does Rabbi Shmuel ben Shirach Morocco hold? I mean, you could say that he holds that it worked differently, that you don't throw out the one that says 5 is his Nazirus is also, his testimony is also accepted. Maybe he holds we don't throw it out, and therefore you have a kind of Edom, or it's possible to say that you do throw it out, but by Mechayev and Nazirus, it's only concerned in Isser, and Eid Echad Nema Bisurim. Eid Echad is enough to Mechayev Nazirus because it's an Isser. Maybe that's the Machlokas. So there's 2 ways I want to say the Machlokas. We pass like the Mishnah. The Mishnah says Dinim Aminus, and therefore only in a case where there's 2 Kekti Edim, but if there's 1 Kat of Edim and they both disagree with each other, so then you're left with Eid Echad. You're left with Eid Echad. Eid Echad is not good enough between Dinim Aminus. And in the Shita of Rabbi Shmuel ben Shirach, you can say 2 different ways. You know, we don't pass like them, but it's interesting to think about it. Either you could say that no, they're not. There's no hachasha at all. They're not disagreeing with each other, right? And therefore we have a group of Eidim, or maybe we do throw out one of the Eidim, but Eid Echad Nema Bisurim and Nazirus, even though at the end of it there is a davar shavamam and toloi bo, but technically the main type of Nazirus is you're accepting isurim upon yourself, not to drink wine, not to time on the mason, not to cut your hair. Davar Shabbat Isser, so Eid Echad is Neman, and therefore he's not Muchash, right? Because Yesh B'chal Chamish Shtayim, so therefore 1 Eid is good enough to Mechayev the Nazirus, the 2 sets of Nazirus. Hope you enjoyed today's shir. See you in the next one.